known as Lady Extreme, and talk about some of the advocacy she does in the community and her different organizations like UPFAD, which stands for Unlimited Possibilities for All Disabilities. And they do a lot of advocacy and work in the community for people with disabilities. We're going to take a moment for our sponsor, and then we're going to come right back. Royal Property Enterprises, LLC. Royal Property Enterprises is a full-service real estate company. They offer a wide variety of services. They help first-time homebuyers navigate the tricky real estate and mortgage process, such as real estate consulting, where they can help current real estate owners evaluate their current properties and consult them in finding the best solution for long-term gain. And they can provide help for home buyers. They offer first-time home buyers the help they need in securing their future home and assist with the pre-qualification process. Along with that, they help with rehab and renovations. They have spent years in creating a contractors network that is able to provide property renovating services of various levels. They can also assist in total property rehabilitation. For all your home buying and renovation needs, call 614-859-7542 or visit www.royalpropertyent.com. And now we're back with Lady Extreme. I am so excited to be talking with you about all the opportunities that you are helping provide in the community. So let's start with you telling me who exactly Nicole Carter is.
Nicole Carter, wow. First of all, let me thank you for having me on your show. I adore you, and for me to be on the show out the gate, I feel privileged. Nicole Carter, well, she started with a husband. I guess that's how that name came about when I got married to him. And but as far as what part, Gwen? You talking about how you and I met? I mean, what you want to do?
Wow.
I mean, I'm so excited to be on your show. There's so much that I could talk about. I mean, I could brag about being a part of you. Well, okay, so let me come back to me. I'm the pioneer of Christian rap here in Columbus, Ohio. I've been a Christian rapper for over 35 years. Wow. I have, and my advocacy for people with disabilities sparked with my oldest son, who is Stephen, who has autism. I do a gospel comedy show that you've been a part of at the Funny Bone. Wow. And my fine husband, I have to give him a shout out, is Stephen Carter. So I love what I do, and I love being an advocate for people with disabilities, because I believe that people with disabilities are some of the hidden gems in our community.
Absolutely. Well, you also go by Lady Extreme.
Lady Extreme.
Can you give me a little background on where that name came from and why it's still sticking to you?
Well, that's interesting. Well, as being a pioneer of Christian rap, I was Coleco, and then that was my original name. And my husband and his brother and a close friend of ours named Jason said, "You God is saying something about extreme." Okay, so my husband said Lady, and that was over 20 years ago, and it's just been my name ever since, and so it's stuck. I mean, more people call me Lady Extreme than Nicole, so I'm excited about all the different things. I'm a promoter by nature. I've been promoting full time since 2005. So I love what I do, Gwen, and I love giving people opportunities. That's the number one thing that I like to do.
Wow. Well, like I said, we have a lot in common, and I just adore you as well, and I'm so excited you're here. And one of our connections was we both have sons with autism.
Yes, ma'am.
And you're one of the people that I was inspired by to just live out loud with it and try to get information across. I always like to ask people, what triggered you doing that, living out loud, where you, because as you know, in our community, we oftentimes shroud ourselves. There's some shame and there's some concern. And I found out personally, by living out loud, I get the help I need.
Absolutely.
So what motivated you or inspired you to live out loud and go into the community and help others as well?
You know, really, when I found out my son, I noticed that he was not catching up when he was about 2. And it was a blessing because I was able to be an at-home mom. And I started looking into resources and things of that nature, and family members were saying, oh, well, don't worry about it. Oh, just whoop him if he's not doing what you say.
Right.
And it was and I started really researching, and I was able to take a lot of information I got from Columbus Speech and Hearing, and because I was, the reason why I wanted to live out loud, especially with my son, is I said my son gave me my purpose. Initially, when I was doing what I was doing, I did it because it was a great thing to do, but my son gave me the purpose behind what I'm doing. So I decided that how many people, especially when I saw the numbers about people with autism, and I said how many, and then I found out nationwide 1 out of every 5 people have a type of disability. And when I saw that, I said, you know what, there has to be a boldness that has to come forth. And I just started, the momentum started from there. I started getting very bold, started taking my son in public. I started talking about it more and more and more. And I think that a lot of times we have to stop being ashamed
Right.
of our children and really showcase the unique giftedness in them, and find that unique spark to encourage others to be able to do the same thing with their children. So that's how it got sparked.
Absolutely. I agree with you 100%. You know that my story is somewhat similar. One of the things, my son's a little bit older than yours. He just turned 23. But when he was first diagnosed, it was pretty negative. I was a doctor, and I guess he was doing his job, but he told us all the things my son would never be able to do.
Wow.
And one of the things that struck me the most was they said he'd never be able to read. And those were the words, never. Wow. And I remember being devastated. I remember grieving. And I'm just so grateful that people like yourself and friends, people in the community, encouraged me, because my son does read. And he does a lot of other things they said he would never do. And I feel so fortunate. And it breaks my heart to think about that there may be millions of people who have been told these negative things. And it's not that there aren't struggles and there aren't things that my son has to work at, but I mean, think of all the loss if people just accept that and they don't have the encouragement and the support. So thank you again, and I just want to emphasize, I want to talk about some of the activities you do with your organization, and in fact, we're going to get into more detail a little bit later, but tell me about the one event that's coming up later this month.
Oh, so yay! Okay, so Gwen didn't tell you that her son actually is a mentor to my son. My son is 11 years younger, and we have an event that we've been doing. We're in our 3rd year. It's called the All Disabilities Festival, and Blue Spectrum has been a part of that for the past 3 years. Basically, what I recognized and realized that I wanted to build a community of people around my son, and in doing that, I created the All Disabilities Festival in partnership with the Columbus Gospel Fest. So the All Disabilities Festival starts actually it's July 28th, so it's in a few weeks. Yes. And the start time, the walk starts at 9 a.m. and all the talent starts at 12 noon. So we're in partnership with COSI, CareSource, Kids Link. Oh, there's so many people, Latido, there's so many people that came on board to really make this happen. And really, Gwen, I'm going to give you a shout out right now, because you helped me walk through a lot of things that I was walking through, because when I met you, my son was 5. And I would tell you some of the things that I was going through and you wasn't impressed. You said, you said your son is more further along, and you have been one of my biggest encouragers. So another reason why I live out loud is because you took me by the hand and you guided me along the way, and you gave me resources that you had access to, because your son is 11 years older than mine. And I just really want to be thankful to you. So people who are out there and you're listening, listen, it's a community of people that it takes to do this thing. And so I'm just excited that we're taking the initiative. I mean, you're on the radio. I mean, come on.
I know.
You know,
amazing.
you're taking the initiative, so it's amazing. So yes, ma'am. Let's
okay.
Yeah, so that's what I got coming up.
Well, okay, we're going to talk more about that because that's exciting. It's at Genoa Park, right behind COSI, right?
Absolutely. COSI is in partnership right behind COSI at Genoa Park, July 28th, downtown Columbus.
July 28th, that's Saturday.
Yes,
wow.
it is.
And where can they go to find out more information?
They can go to www.upfad.org, which is upfad.org.
That's cool. And I noticed you kept mentioning the word community, and that's very ironic, because one of the hallmarks of autism, as you know, is struggles with social skills. It's a wide spectrum, and it's a lot of diversity among people who are struggling with autism. But the hallmark that most of them have is just difficulty connecting socially. So community has always been at the forefront, just trying to connect with the community. I mean, just making friends can be such a challenge, particularly as they get older. Oh my goodness. So I just love the fact that you mentioned that. We have to continue that. We have to reach out. We have to encourage family, particularly in our community, because there's a lot of shame. And also, just talking about it, talking about where you need help. I mean, when your child is school age, there is help out there, but you have to acknowledge it. You have to claim it. I mean, I hate to use that word, but I don't know if people are familiar with IEPs, individualized education plans. That's controlled by law. That you have that by law, that if your child has a special need or even a gift, I didn't know this until recently, that the school is required to provide an appropriate education. So, and a lot of times in our community, our kids, if they have an issue, they're labeled as a behavior problem or something like that, and it may be something very, very different. But if we don't take the helm and we don't ask for that, and I know I'm harping on that, but it's such a big issue.
But see, here's the thing: you're not harping. The reality is that sometimes it's that's the reason why it's necessary to get information out there. Too many times, what happens is people suffer in silence, and we have to become unsilent about about the suffering, and know that there's resources. Like, we pay tax dollars towards public school systems, and public school systems have a requirement to educate our children, and not just public school systems. The state has a mandate. So it's kind of so I just really want to encourage people to really go out and just get your child tested, find out different unique ways. Like you said, it's more to help them to be able to adjust, but also them having that IEP opens up incredible opportunities for you as a parent, because you'll have teachers that will be advocates for you. You'll have community relationships. There's doors that will open. Some parents don't even know that there's resources available, whereas you can receive Social Security for your children. You can receive assistance with babysitting. There's so many initiatives that can occur if you take the initiative to say, hey, I need help, or can you just test? You can test your child and not necessarily, some people think it's a labeling component, but what happens if that label component can excel them to the place that they need to be, then wouldn't you go for it?